This is why changing your environment is going to be the most important thing in making sure that you reach the level of success that you want to reach. Environment doesn't only just mean the place that you are, the country that you're in, the city that you're in, the home that you live in. It's also the people who you keep around you. Yes, it's been said that you are the five most people that you hang out around. However, it is equally as important for those who are not within your direct vicinity that may be watching you on social media or maybe reaching out to you that you're acquaintances with. And if you ever get that feeling that maybe they don't have the best intentions for you or there's a sense of jealousy, that is evil eye. You need to cancel that out and block that on every single medium that you can possibly do, as well as cutting the cords in the ether. My name is Des Pena, aka the Trillionaire Woman. I manage a $70 million estate and I help business owners making six figures plus create and maintain generational wealth. Now, creating generational wealth isn't simply a matter of how well you can do financially, it's also the person who you need to become in order to achieve that level of wealth. When you are on the path to creating massive success for yourself, there are going to be people who are not happy for you. There are going to be people who are jealous of you. And you need to develop that discernment, which is something that you get along the way through experiences and business and in your personal life, in order to keep the people around you who belong and wean out the people who don't. There's a reason why they say it's lonely at the top. It's not that it's lonely, it's that there are very few people who are actually rooting for you, who really want you to win and who want you to win even more than they want like themselves to win in their respective industry. Because the people who want the best for you, sometimes that may not even be your mom. It may not even be a family member. If anything, family members may get even more jealous because they haven't been able to accomplish what you've accomplished for yourself. So distancing yourself and loving people from afar who simply just don't belong in your life anymore is sometimes what you need to do in order to achieve that level of wealth or success. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely isolate yourself. However, there is a saying where they say you need to separate to elevate. But I also believe that you need to collaborate to escalate. And that means that you need to choose the right people to have around you in order to grow to that next level. Ideally, you want people around you who are supplementary to your skill sets, meaning that they're good at something that you aren't so good at. And as a result of both of you having different expertise in different niches or industries, you are then able to collaborate and create something even better, because you can't make a puzzle with just one piece. You need multiple pieces. I was actually just doing an audit today with how many staff members that I have, and there's a total of 34. I thought I only had 12 because that's kind of like what I've started with on like year 2 of business. And I didn't realize how fast the team grew, especially since I'm the one primarily just dealing with the managers of each department. And this is a result of being a good leader. When you are someone who receives constant praise for the amazing job that you've done, because that's who clients think did all the work, they think it's all you, and actually it's the team. The team are the people who are executing, who are making sure that things are top notch and that clients are happy, because if it wasn't for them, there would be no results. So this is one thing that a great leader always does, and it's give credit to their team. Give praise where praise is due. So if somebody's giving you praise, you say, thank you so much. Honestly, I can't even take the credit. It's my team. That is what makes you a great leader. And I was on the phone today with someone who I absolutely adore, who's also part of my team. And she was like, hey, honestly, it's not even me, it's my team. They're incredible. And I was like, that's exactly what makes you a great leader, girl. And because of that, you're then able to attract more abundance, more wealth, more positivity, and more people who are actually rooting for you instead of just wanting to tear you down. The minute you feel either a gut feeling or a heavy feeling on your heart, or your brain just feels a little bit more scattered, or you start breathing more shallow, that's how you know that that person you likely shouldn't be around, and they should not be in your circle. You shouldn't be talking to them or communicating with them. If you get this feeling when you get a text message, when you get an email, if you're right about to call, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily, sometimes you may get nervous during sales calls, for example, and your heart starts to race a little fast because you don't know who you're talking to. But this is someone whom you may have had in your life that you've spoken to multiple times, that every time you're about to get on the phone, this bad feeling comes up. Whenever that bad feelings comes up, you need to squash it. And if that entails, having a conversation saying, hey, I feel like something isn't right here. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't feel good. Do you think that we can work through this together? Is there something on your mind that's bothering you? If it's resolvable, resolve it. If it's not something that's resolvable and it's simply a matter of fact of potential jealousy, cut it out, because that is not something that you need, especially when you're on your way to a massive level of success. So, one, make sure that you audit your circle constantly. The people who you were friends with back when you were in high school, back when you were in grade school, back when you were in diapers, that doesn't mean they're your friends now, especially if they haven't shown up for you in the ways that you needed them to. And it's not anyone's job to show up for you as you need them to. However, there are periods in everyone's life, and people are typically in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes that lifetime doesn't necessarily need to be constant. Somebody can be in your life for 14 years and then you have a hiatus of like 4 years where you don't talk, or you talk very sparingly. And as a result, you are going through your own pattern of growth. Because if you have people around you that maybe aren't growing as rapidly as you are, or they're growing in a different direction, that doesn't mean you can't maintain friendship or communication. It simply just means that the physical time together, or the time that you spend speaking together, it has to dissipate for this period of time in order for you both to grow and then maybe come back later in the future to provide more value to each other. I have a best friend who I probably speak to maybe, I would say maybe once a month or once every 2 months. Sometimes, like for a summer, we'd talk every 2 weeks, but it doesn't mean that we're talking for the entire year constantly. There may be a 4-month period or a 6-month period where I don't hear from them, an 8-month period. And it's simply a result of each of us are growing in our own respective fields. And when we get on the phone with each other, the energy is just so high because we have nothing but pure love for each other and we want each other to win. We get excited for each other's successes. We get super pumped up when there's good news, whether they've shared all the details with us or not. I'm like, did your business grow? I'm like, are you growing or are you stagnant? And they're like, it's growing. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go. And so when you provide that type of energy, when you get that energy from someone, you understand that they want to pump you up. Like, they're excited for your growth, for your success. And those are the type of people who you need to keep around you. Not everyone is as excited and expressive as I am or how my friends are. However, that doesn't mean that you still can't feel the energy of when someone is truly, truly happy for you and rooting for you. And that is what I think most important a friend should actually do for you, because what else are they going to do for you? They're not your family. They're not your chef. They're not your, they're not your cleaners. There's only so much a friend can do for you. And friends are going to be there to listen to you when you're having a hard time. Friends are going to be there to encourage you when you're feeling down. And friends are there to hype you up and keep you accountable. And if you don't have friends who are doing that, I'm sorry, they are not your friends. They are dead weight. And that is called crabs in a bucket. So you guys will just simply constantly bring each other down if you're not bringing that level of energy or setting that standard for each other. Now, if there's moments and times where, let's say, friends are venting a little too much and it's causing some emotional distress in you, then that's simply a way to just start putting up barriers. Put up barriers as in, hey, I don't really want to talk about this right now. This may be a repetitive conversation, but we're not really getting to a solution. I've proposed 2-3 solutions for you, and you keep going back and doing the same thing. That's okay. It's their life path, and you just let them run it. The same way that you're running your life path, and you probably don't listen to them when they give you advice all the time. But that doesn't mean that you aren't going to be there for each other or catch them when they fall. There was one instance where I was completely stranded in Thailand. I was there for an entire month and all of my cards had completely dissipated, no more money in the accounts, and I did not have a way to get home. I called up my person who was supposed to be paying for the flight there and back because it was a business expense, and they said, "Hey, sorry, I can't do it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, so I'm just going to be stranded in Thailand?" I called my best friend and they were like, "Yeah, I just booked your flight right now. You're good, right?" And I'm like, "Whoa, I wasn't even expecting somebody to solve my problem for me that fast." But I have such amazing people that I keep around me, and it's simply a result of me also being amazing to them. I've not that I've ever done something as extreme as that because they may have never needed it. However, the first thing that they said was, "I know you would do it for me if I need it." And that is the type of people that you want to keep around. The people who know you so well. And it was like, yeah, of course I could do it. If I would, I could. And like, why not? And so when you do have those instances, it truly, truly shows, who's there for you and who's not. But one thing that hyper independent people tend to do is not ask for help when they need it. I am guilty of doing this, and it's hard. It's not easy to ask for help, especially not like, I guess it's easier for a female, but to be honest, it doesn't feel any easier because it kind of feels burdensome. You don't want to bother your friends with, certain problems that you may have, but remember, they're a friend for a reason. So never take the opportunity away from a friend actually being able to be there for you. So now that we've discussed the environment regarding the relationships that you keep around you, let's also talk about our physical environment. Now, I'm going to give you guys a life hack, which will completely change your life after this brief intermediate water break. This is actually really cool. I got it at Disney, and it lights up, and my brothers and I all have matching cups. I took them out to dinner at the Belle Beauty and the Beast restaurant. It was super cool. And back to environment, you can do little things like these in order to create the environment around you that brings it to life just a little bit more. So it's a matter of decorating, because decoration is important, because you are creating the space around you that feels good. And it's not just about feeling good for the sake of pleasure. It's about feeling good in the sake of putting yourself in a state of mind and an alignment of a frequency that is matching the future reality that you so want. If I say I'm a queen in a castle, I'm telling you I am a queen in a castle. And you will see that everywhere. Now, the secret to where you should be locating yourself geographically, I tend to use numerology or astrology. And when I do this, you can use ChatGPT or Google for this. You want to backtrack and basically say, okay, what year was I born in, and what is my Chinese zodiac astrology sign? So for example, if you're born the year of the ox, you want to go and live in a city or a country that was created in the year of the ox. And the reason why is because you will have more flow there than you would in a quote unquote enemy year sign. And an enemy year just means that on the Chinese zodiac astrology sign, it's the opposite of your sign. So you don't want to be in a place that is opposite of your sign because you will face more challenges. Now, you may think this is very woo-woo and spiritual and all that stuff and very foofy, but however, JP Morgan Chase said this: millionaires do not use astrology, but billionaires do. And that's coming straight from one of the largest financial institution founders in the world. So if he's saying it, clearly you need to listen. So I'm not saying listen because I'm the one saying it. I'm saying listen because I've studied people who are the best. If I'm going to become the best, then I am going to study people who are the best. And this is another way that you can jump timelines. In order for you to achieve the level of success that you want, but you don't have the people around you who are at that level of success or higher that you aspire to be, then simply creating some isolation is definitely what's needed. And however, you can also consume more information from people who do have a higher level of success via online, watching their videos, listening to their books or their podcasts. And that is creating a new circle around you in order for you to elevate yourself. Because it is crucial. Anyone who has been even a self-made millionaire has made connections with people who have been able to bring them one step up on the ladder. If they're 5 steps ahead and they lay out a hand saying, hey, come with me, they are there for a reason. And it's up to you to decide to take that chance or not. Because there are only so many opportunities that are given to you. And it is your job to then say yes or no to them. Now, if you're someone who's very new, you do not have the option to say no to an opportunity because you need to learn as fast as possible and build your skill sets as fast as humanly possible. I'm not even going to say humanly possible because we're not even humans. We're royalty out here. As fast as light speed. That's how we're moving. As fast as light speed is how we need to move when we are in the process of creating opportunities for ourselves and being prepared for it. The first time I ever went on a talk where I was speaking one-to-many on a stage, I had not done a formal stage speaking performance before. I've done public speaking in college in front of my class of, 30 or 40 kids, whatever it was. And the next time after that where I spoke in public was on a panel where I got brought out for a conference so that way I can speak on a panel. And we were all asked questions and we went back and forth with each other. So it was a very supportive place. Now, however, speaking on stage, I had networked with someone at an event, at a Tai Lopez event, and they were like, hey, Des, you are the only person I've ever heard speak about private trust. Would you like to come speak on my stage out in such and such time? And I said, yeah, I love speaking. They're like, how do you feel about speaking on stage? I was like, I absolutely love it. And it's because I've rehearsed this in my mind over and over again. Not simply like what I would say or what I would talk about, but I've always envisioned myself on stage speaking some knowledge and providing value. Now, I have been on stage before, but I've been on stage dancing in a group, like as a child, just, in your little Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club performances that you do once a year, your drama clubs, that kind of stuff, choir, but I've never actually spoke in front of people. And I do it online, which is great, so that's good practice. However, when I got this opportunity presented to me, I immediately said yes. Because that's something I already knew I wanted. So if you want to create more opportunity for yourself, you need to be super clear about what it is you actually want, because that will be provided to you and it will be provided to you in abundance. But you just have to be a match for that frequency and be in preparation for that opportunity. For example, I want you to keep this formula in your mind. Opportunity plus preparation equals success. Opportunity plus preparation equal success. And if you guys aren't taking notes when you're listening to these videos, you're going to miss out on so much value because note takers are money makers. That's just a fact. Note takers are money makers. And if you want a hack for your brain will retain more knowledge when you're writing down notes in blue ink. So make sure you have a blue pen whenever I'm speaking, because I promise you it will provide so much value, not only to you, but if you're taking these notes and saving them, for example, for your future generations, your kids, or whoever that may be, that is going to be a new level of knowledge, not only that you retain and get to cement in your life and become more of a refined person if this is maybe new information for you, but it's also going to help create principles and foundations for your family. I originally have this notebook that I took on my internship, and I was able to copy handwritten notes, word for word, from my mentor's notebook, and her notebook was a direct copy of Jim Rohn's notebook. My first mentor was Irina Popa, and she was the last mentee of Jim Rohn before he passed away. And I was lucky enough to get these notes from literally the grandfather of personal development. If you guys don't know who he is, you should definitely figure out who he is. He's amazing. Bob Proctor's amazing. There's a bunch of people out there. But those are kind of like the forefathers, I would say, especially Jim Rohn. Tony Robbins was trained by Jim Rohn as well. They were both training. Irina and Tony were training at the same time. And this level of information that I'm sharing with you does translate into just principles of the wealthy, because that is where I'm getting my knowledge from, and that is the only thing I plan on practicing. Because again, if it's not something that I want, why would I be studying it? And it's not a money thing. This is literally a becoming thing. When you become the person worthy of an exuberant amount of abundance and wealth and status and money and power, it is now your responsibility, which I've spoken about responsibility in the past in my previous videos, to care for others and make changes and implementations in your particular ways that are going to benefit more and more people. This level of responsibility, when you have a higher level of wealth, does not just fall on you. You are responsible for feeding individuals, for feeding families. You're responsible for paving a path and a way for your employees and or your clients to achieve the level of success that they're looking for when they're buying a service from you. And when you have that level of responsibility, you cannot do it for someone else if you have not done it for yourself first. You can try, but it's not necessarily going to be the best course of action, because then why would anyone trust you to do it? So again, I never sell anything or do anything or ask someone to do anything I haven't done myself first. Now, are there instances where I need experts in a field to help me out with something like coding or something like a website or something of that sort, or video editing? Yes, absolutely. And you then hire those experts. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm speaking about is when you are providing a service for a client, when you're going to actually sell something, if you have not done it for yourself first, you should not be offering it to someone else, especially for a monetary value, because you don't even know if you can execute it as of yet. Now, if you are someone who has a business and has been able to execute and you have proven models, by all means, crush it and keep going. But if you're someone who hasn't started a business yet, but you're hoping and wanting to do that, then have a proven model first. Do the work first, because you need to learn as fast as possible. And when you do the work first and you have something to show for it, one, you're building the belief in yourself, and two, you're showing your clients that you're actually competent in what it is that you're doing. And it doesn't need to be a big show and tell like, hey, look at this, I did it. It's more of like a hey, do you have any previous work that I can take a look at? You can say absolutely and send over a little PDF or whatever the case may be in order for them to check out your work. You want to be, again, opportunity plus preparation equal success. And with that, I'm going to close out this video. Actually, no. We're not going to close out this video, because we, again, haven't even discussed the environment thing. I'm going to wrap that up with the environment. So yes, one, we've spoken about relationships. Two, we've spoken about making sure that we are geographically located in the locations and places that we should be located on. And three, our environment also contains the things that make us happy in order to be more empowered and feel better in the spaces that we're in. You need to take care of your space because that is a direct reflection. Everything that's outside of you is a direct reflection of what's happening from inside of you. So if your house is messy, whatever the case may be, then your inside is messy. If your outside space is not clean, then maybe your brain is just a little bit scattered. Everything is a reflection of what's happening. That's just how the universe works. The universe echoes, Earth echoes. If you've ever taken walks and have seen different, for example, a bush has a certain shape to it. It's usually mimicking another tree or another branch, like a small radius away. Or for example, the architecture in a house may be equally reflected onto living items like a tree if you pay a lot of attention to these things and these details. So pay attention to details and make sure that they are spot on. So that brings us to our last point regarding environment. That's going to be the environment of how we dress ourselves. We need to dress ourselves in the way that we want to be perceived, that make us feel good, not necessarily always comfortable. But, if looking good makes you feel comfortable, then by all means, look good instead of feeling comfortable. Because who are you going to respect more? Are you going to respect an Adam Sandler looking guy more if he's not Adam Sandler? Or are you going to respect someone who actually puts themselves together and doesn't, I'm sorry, I love Adam Sandler, but dresses like a slob. It is what it is. I can't really call it anything else. I can only be factual. So it's going to change the places that you go. Because when you're dressed a certain way, you're not going to want to be in certain places that don't vibrate with you anymore on that same, or aren't on that same frequency. So when you start dressing better, you'll naturally be inclined to go to places that make you feel better, and match that status that you're already portraying. So for example, if I'm dressed really nice, you think I'm going to go to a McDonald's to eat? No. I'm going to go to the nicest sushi restaurant in the fanciest neighborhood and put myself in that environment. So that's another trick where you can quantum leap in your life by putting yourself in places where wealth is. When I was in high school, I used to drive around with my best girlfriend and we would see all these beautiful houses in the richest neighborhood that was closest to us. We would drive 20 minutes out from where the house was and just look at these beautiful, huge mansions. And fast forward until today, my best friend did get her nice big house in a different state, and she is doing absolutely amazing. And I couldn't be more proud of her. And when you cultivate this idea or vision in your head of what it is you want, and you surround yourself with those things, those people, those places, those smells, those textures, the where you are now to where you want to be, that timeline will just collapse. And it'll happen so much faster. It is ridiculous. This is a secret to quantum leaping and manifesting, because it's honestly just a hack. It's really just a life hack, and you will boom zoom through life as long as you are preparing for that opportunity to be successful. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night or day, depending on when you're watching this, and I'll see you next week.